Your name is...
Uddhab Pyakurel.
And remarkably, for this conference, you're from Nepal, which has raised particular interest because we didn't think there was tax avoidance in Nepal, but there is apparently.
Yes, that is my pleasure to be here and have a very nice sharing with you people. And as I told in my presentation, we have different situations than that of here. Whatever you are discussed here is in a sense in a matured way, but in Nepal, I mean, this issue of tax is kind of infant now. We have to improve, we have to grow up that movement. That is what I feel like, and I came all the way from Nepal.
For people who don't know much about Nepal, and I'm afraid people in this country don't know much about Nepal, it was a monarchy, but the monarchy has now been overthrown, an internal family squabble, and you've got an elected Maoist government. Is that correct?
Yes, Nepal is not that much interested by first world, including UK, but we have very old relation with the United Kingdom. Nepal was never colonized, but we had a tough fight with British India, and eventually once we won, and once we had a compromise with British, and I think Nepal had the oldest relation with British in terms of diplomatic relation is concerned. Yes, you are right, we had monarchy till recently, and monarchy has gone by its own.
Could it come back? Is there anybody left to bring it back?
No. I mean, I don't think that possibility, because you see they have done mistake. Not, I mean, in Britain, at least monarchy realized after two kind of events in 1649 and 88. But in Nepal, we have given chance to monarchy thrice, in 50, in 1960, in even 1990, but it didn't realize that it can't rule the people. I mean, it can't go against people's aspiration. It has to be with people, but they tried as if they are the sole representative of God. That is what this monarchy committed mistake, and I don't think that it will come back in a very easy manner. People have no faith. They can go for other kind of extremism, but not for monarchy. That is, I sense.
In your presentation, you described how the tax avoidance was on things like income tax and VAT, the equivalent of VAT, and especially amongst, obviously, the people who've got the money, the middle classes, because Nepal is basically a poor country. That sort of tax avoidance, you think, is a relatively new phenomenon. It's a new activity.
This is not the new activity. As I told you, once there was this monarchy and it was not people friendly, people felt like they should not pay tax for monarchy's survival, and we had campaign against, for that. During this democracy struggle, parties popularized this very sentiment: we should not pay tax because it helped surviving monarchy. That is why this tax issue was not that much prominent. People were not obliged to pay tax. Even parties mobilized for that. So once there is democracy, you can't change the perception right away in a day or two. That is why this government is suffering, and obviously you are right, we are the poor country. That is why people feel like if they save tax, they save money by not paying the tax, they can survive easily. That is what the public perception is. And more than that, very important is, we are having government which is not capable enough to deliver something to the people. Unless you deliver something to me, why can I pay? That sentiment is very strong. For example, you see, Nepal is second largest in terms of hydroelectric potential, but Nepalese, even middle class and upper class, residing in Kathmandu Valley, the capital, they are suffering. They are not getting electricity. They have to face sometimes even 19 hours per day electricity cut problem. So they feel like, why should I pay tax? Government, doesn't do anything for me. Neither they provide electricity, nor provide health facility, nor schooling facility, nor road. Then why should I pay tax? So I think that is, earlier it was related to this regime. Now it is related to governance. Once government couldn't deliver
the public wants something for their money if they're going to pay for it. Traditionally, obviously the pictures you see of Nepal, it's a very wild country, a lot of difficult terrain. Road building would be virtually impossible in many places. The provision of schools would be okay, but can people get to the schools in the country districts? Obviously Kathmandu, it's easier. This is part of the problem, isn't it? How do you collect taxes from a population?
No, I don't think that geography is our weakness. No. Geography is our strength, if you feel like. I don't think that is that much expensive to build road. We are not talking about the highway, at least. I'm talking about the road condition in city like Kathmandu Valley. How can you improve that? How can you improve education facility? Though there are schools, but people started not to join that school. Recently there are many. Many report states that there are many schools without students because people have no trust on this very public.
Is it free schooling for children, or you have to pay to send the children?
We are having two different schooling system, and social perception is very bad towards this government-owned school. They won't teach students. There is no good education. That is why people prefer to go. To send their kids to the private school, privately run school. That is expensive. In terms of this monetary this thing, but they prefer because social construct is like this. Once your children are taught in the government school, they would be nowhere in the job market. So these are the things. Even if government spend a lot of money in the schools, but nothing has been come up. So these are the issues, and without handling these things, I don't think that people will be happy to pay tax.
Strange enough, we've heard quite a lot at this conference about Jersey, and Jersey has overseas aid projects with Nepal. I'm not quite sure what they are, but they've sent people out there to do small building projects or whatever, teaching projects.
Buildings are nice. Yeah. School buildings, if you see in our standard, I can't say that in your standard these buildings are nice, but in our standard school buildings are nice. And infrastructure is okay because recently we got funds from UK, Japan, this and that, and building has been constructed in a very well manner. But building doesn't help unless you deliver quality education.
Sure.
That is again social perception. You have to change social perception. You see, in England also, I don't know. I have read. I have not visited schools. You also have these different schools for different people. Unless you eradicate that problem, and unless you try to engage with people's mindset.
Because one of the other speakers was talking about big business in some countries. They don't pay their taxes, but they give money to charity. But of course, in the Jersey-Nepal context, I'm not aware that there's any tax avoidance from Nepal through tax havens. It's all just people not paying their taxes in Nepal, isn't it?
I don't know about charity much. I don't know. Maybe some charity funds are also mobilized in Nepal. But I don't think that Nepal has been the tax haven.
No, but it's not using. The people in Nepal don't go to tax havens. It's just that they don't pay their taxes to the government.
Yes, I have read a report recently. Even Nepalese business person and big politicians have account in Switzerland, and they started shifting money from Nepal to sometimes India and sometimes Switzerland. That is what has been covered by media, but we have to go through. We have not studied it.
What happens? The people, if they're caught in Nepal not paying taxes, what happens to them?
That is very interesting. Government is helpless, in fact, because there is nexus between political parties, bureaucracy and government. Even if government knows that I am not paying tax, it is helpless in bringing me in this procedure so that I can be punished. And as I told you in my presentation, many of government institutions don't want to implement this thing, and that is because they are also in a way avoiding this and that provision of tax.
Are you optimistic at all? Because obviously it's a newish government, it's only been there a few years. Things will evolve, things will change.
No. You see, what happened to this Maoist party and government, earlier they tried their best just to go for populist agenda. They were the one who went to the people's door and said, "Oh, you neither pay land tax, nor pay electricity tax, nor pay water bill. You should not pay this and that. We are revolutionary. We just waive everything to you." You see, that is why for Maoists, they can't go beyond that, because they have promised a lot to the people. And it was just opposite of this tax system. They were for tax-free society, and I don't know how they bring they deliver good governance, and they deliver this infrastructure development and etc. for the people without having tax. But initially they were the one who popularized this very sentiment of not paying the tax.
Your next door neighbours are China and India. China's a communist country, supposed to be, but it's become a very capitalist communist country. India, its constitution requires it to be a socialist country, as far as I understand it. You're now a Maoist country. Viewed from this side of the world, it doesn't look like a very communist sort of side of the world. It all seems very capitalist. Is there any difference?
You see, I don't know about China, whether there was Maoism in actual sense before. Yes, you are right. Now they are capitalist, and they are more capitalist than that of real capitalist. In India, I could see kind of socialist approach and etc. And in Nepal also. You see, I don't think that they are, for the namesake they are Maoist. If you follow their policy, they are not the Maoist. They are worse than that of even socialist. They are less radical than that of socialist. Why I am saying it is, you see, I told, I presented, I mentioned in my presentation as well. Maoists have political agenda. They just quote Mao, Marx, Lenin, and in a very fascinating manner. They have rhetoric. They have this, many rhetoric words. But once they come to implement this, they have nothing. Neither they have alternative development policy, neither they have alternative governance policy, nothing. They are totally blank. Once you are blank, then it is very difficult to govern the country.
How many levels of government are there in Nepal?
We have two layers of government now, center and this local. But we are trying to have this federal system in Nepal. Once it is there, because constitutionally we have declared already Nepal is federal country. So once we implement this federal notion, then we will have three layers of government: union, federal, then local.
And will those government elected people all be paid, or will they be some of them volunteers?
Yes, generally we try to have elected government up to the grassroots level. We had two local level elections in 1991 and 1996, and it gave kind of a very innovative kind of idea in terms of deepening democracy. But later on, due to Maoist in a way and due to monarchy, we couldn't continue this election process in the local level, and along with that we face kind of rampant corruption at the local level. that is absolutely damaging our society and economy.
The human rights, there's a human rights section on this campus here. Does that feature very prominently in Nepal? Have you signed up for human rights conventions?
I mean, you see, Nepal is a country which can be influenced by even a single INGOs. That is why we are part of many international conventions and these things, signatories of many international conventions. But if you talk about implementation, we are nowhere. I mean, for me, unless you implement something, it doesn't matter whether you sign or agreed upon or not.
Your neighbours, India and China, are they seen at all as a threat to you? Because obviously they're huge, powerful countries emerging in the world. They're up there among the biggest players now. You're a small country, relatively poor.
I mean, you mean, are they threats for us?
Will they move in? Have you got something they want?
Yes, obviously, you see, sometimes, the geopolitics of Nepal is mainly it should be kind of asset for Nepal. Having two giants here and there in both sides, if you mobilize properly, if you manage properly, if you engage with them properly, then it is asset for you. But in a way, it is asset if we have this foreign policy. At least you should have consensus within parties in Nepal and have foreign policy, how to deal with China, how to deal with India, what kind of interest India is having, what kind of interest China is having. We should discuss in a table and have a foreign policy. In that sense, it would be kind of asset. But you see, Nepal is not using them as asset. They sometimes parties try to play with each other. Sometimes they feel like they should play with China, they should play with India. Then if they do this, then obviously they also, India and China also have interest, and they try Nepal in a very different manner.
Has this been a useful conference for you?
This is very useful for me, and I hope we will continue together to discuss this thing, and that will be more important to mobilize our people, sensitize our people in Nepal, so that we have kind of tax-friendly society. We have kind of issue of tax justice in a very prominent manner.
Thank you much indeed.